Christian McCaffrey's return a bright spot in a Week 10 full of fantasy struggles. Week 10 of the NFL season didn't offer the big fantasy performances many were hoping for. With underdogs dominating the early window and a series of disappointing individual showings. It felt like a week full of busts rather than booms. However, one of the few shining stars was Christian McCaffrey, who made his return to action for the San Francisco 49ers after a lengthy Achilles recovery. Christian McCaffrey's return. McCaffrey was the consensus #1 fantasy pick in most drafts this summer. But injury kept him out until Week 10. He returned with a solid performance, handling 19 touches, 13 carries, 6 receptions, for 107 total yards in the 49ers' 23-20 win over Tampa Bay. While McCaffrey didn't score a touchdown, his healthy workload, while his backfield mates were largely ignored, was an encouraging sign for fantasy managers. The 49ers' backfield is once again his to dominate. Notable fantasy performances from the 49ers. Jauan Jennings was the surprise standout, hauling in 7 catches for 93 yards and leading the team with 11 targets. He looks like a viable WR2/3 going forward. George Kittle, 3.571, and Deebo Samuel, 5.620, were more subdued in terms of production. Though Kittle salvaged his day with a touchdown, Brock Purdy continues to fly under the radar as one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league. He threw for 353 yards and 2 touchdowns, solidifying his status as a QB1 option. The 49ers have a favorable schedule moving forward, so fantasy managers can expect more strong performances from this offense, particularly with McCaffrey back in action. Other Week 10 fantasy highlights and lowlights. Bears struggles. Chicago's offense was a disaster in a 19-3 loss to the Patriots. Caleb Williams was sacked 9 times and threw for just 120 yards. And no Bears pass catcher could produce meaningful stats. Keenan Allen had a quiet day, 5.440. And both DJ Moore and Rome Odunze struggled to make an impact. Joe Flacco and the Colts. While Flacco threw for 272 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 30-20 loss to Buffalo. His 4 turnovers and 4 sacks make it clear the Colts need to move on from him. Fantasy owners of Colts weapons should be hoping for a return of Anthony Richardson soon. Buffalo's passing game. Despite a win, Buffalo's passing game left much to be desired. Josh Allen didn't throw a touchdown, and Khalil Shakir, 6.580, was the best of the group. Dalton Kincaid got off to a good start but left with a knee injury. In a week where touchdowns were scarce, just 41 scored through 11 games. Fantasy managers were left frustrated. However, McCaffrey's return and Purdy's continued efficiency are 2 bright spots in a largely uneventful week for fantasy football.